Isn't that how you start your day? Let me tell you that most of us actually start our day with the worst habits. But what if I tell you that your body has a natural rhythm coexisting with the natural environment already, but oftentimes this natural rhythm is disrupted because of our own habits. And automatically, natural rhythm disrupted hai, you get gut issues, mental health issues, sleep issues and whatnot. Today, I am going to give you the perfect Ayurvedic clock to follow throughout the day so that you can not only survive but thrive throughout the day without depending on supplements, without depending on any stimulating drinks. This video is for those people who are often confused: when is the right time to have breakfast, when should I end my dinner, and when should I have fruits during the day. This Ayurvedic clock will guide you on what are the best times, what are the best things to do throughout the day and also through the night. Make sure you stay till the end of the video because there will be some important Ayurvedic information coming throughout the video in bits and pieces. Now, in the beginning, Charak actually defined the times of our cycles. All the cycles, our life cycle, our seasonal cycle, our day cycle, basically is divided by the three predominant doshas. Number 1, Kapha, number 2, Pitta, and number 3, Vata. Even throughout your day, these three doshas are predominant at different times of the day. Let's start with the first phase of the day, which is the morning time. 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. which is the Kapha predominant time. Now, Kapha predominant time is not the ideal time to wake up. You should actually ideally wake up before 6 a.m. so that you can have a really good and refreshing day. Kapha basically responds to anything that is heavy, sluggish, lethargy, laziness. And if you're waking up during this time, it will only add those qualities to your day. During this time, your Agni is also not functioning very well. It is actually only waking up. That means you can't have a heavy breakfast. Anybody who's having a breakfast like heavy protein based shakes or maybe heavy eggs or meat or soy based products will actually have a very big problem with their gut issues if they continue having this breakfast throughout their life. In fact, breakfast is not even recommended for some body types. It's best to have warm water when you wake up, and if you don't feel hungry, it's best to have your meals during the Pitta time, which is coming after the Kapha time. Now, even if you have to have a breakfast because many kids are going to school, all of you are going to office, a good breakfast would be a light breakfast. Now, a light breakfast would be something like probably a moong dal chila, probably a stewed apple cinnamon, or even something like dalia or oats, or simply having milk with dates or soaked nuts is also enough to keep you energized during that time. Kapha time is also really good for those who exercise. Now, the exercise has to come before the breakfast. That means if you are into gymming, that is the time to gym. If you are somebody who is a Vata or Pitta body type, a more calming and cooling exercise like a good walk or yoga might be highly recommended for you during this particular time. Remember, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. is that time where you're getting ready for school, where you're getting ready for college, where you're getting ready for work. That means all the preparation of the day has to happen during this time. That means that you have to be fresh and energized, which can only happen if you've had a light meal. A heavy meal will only block your srotas, which have not really woken up fully during this time. Now, moving on to my favorite time of the day, which is the Pitta time. I call it the favorite time of the day because this time is quite forgiving. Pitta time is between 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Now, I call this time quite forgiving is because anything and everything you eat during this time will actually be cooked or actually be digested pretty well. And the reason is that you have to look at the sun. The sun is at its strongest during this time from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And if you have a good large meal during this time, especially between 12 p.m. to 1 p.m., that is actually going to give you the best benefit. Sometimes even if you skip dinner but you've had a good large meal in the lunch, that is enough to take you throughout the day and keeps your energy levels really good. This time is also a high pitta time, a high heat time. So anything cooling, anything digestive that can help your digestion process can be really beneficial. So a good lunch would be something like eating a full meal like roti, sabzi. If you're a person who's living in the West, having a bread along with your meal, having lentil soup or having something heavy during this time can actually be good for your system. By heavy, I don't mean fried. By heavy, I don't mean extremely cheesy or unhealthy junk foods, but even if you're somebody who is eating non-vegetarian foods or soy-based products, this is the ideal time to have that particular meal during the day. Pitta time is also when your brain is quite active, so it is a good time to get your tasks done. Along with having a good meal, it is also helpful that you can add buttermilk, especially during summertime. A digestive buttermilk for those who have digestive issues can really go a long way. If you're somebody who suffers from gas or bloating, especially after a good meal during lunchtime, you can follow it up with ajwain water half an hour after lunch. During Pitta time, your Agni is the highest, and that is why it is really important for you to have a good meal, a good sumptuous meal during this time. Moving on to Vata time, which is 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Vata is governing whatever is happening. Your food has already been digested, it has been mobilized. Now it is being transported, moved and circulated to your different cells and tissues. Remember that Vata time is not really ideal for digesting a very heavy meal. So ensure that even if you do end up eating or snacking or drinking something really heavy during this time, it's best to have it in its light form. Something like fruits can be taken at about 4 p.m. Something like papaya, apple, pears, or even seasonal fruits like oranges and guava. But beyond 4 p.m. is not recommended for you to have fruits. So during this Vata time, you can also incorporate a light relaxing yoga if you'd like to, and this is also an ideal time to have your evening meditation. Now we've ended one cycle of our three doshas and we're moving on to the rest of the hours of our day, which will see a predominance of all three doshas again. From 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. comes again Kapha. Now Kapha time at this point of the day resembles closing of the srotas. Srotas are those micro channels which carry energies or bioenergies in your body, and them closing basically represents that now the body is going into a relaxed state. That means this time is not ideal for a heavy dinner or a heavy meal in general. It's not a time when your Agni is also very high. That means you should have your dinner maximum by 7:30, if not by sundown. Ideal recommendation in Ayurveda actually is to have your last meal of the day by sundown, but we do realize in this modern day age it's quite impossible to do that. So for your convenience, it's best to have the meal as early as you can, and even if you're having meals later in the night, it's best to make them as lightest as possible. For example, if you are somebody who feels hungry at 9 p.m., best to have pumpkin soup or a soup which has very light constituents. The later you go in the night, the lighter your meal should be. Contrary to what many people or nutritionists or dietitians recommend, Ayurveda does not recommend eating nuts or eating heavy things like paneer or tofu during this Kapha period. We should also remember Kapha period brings some sort of sluggishness and laziness. That also means that an activity like gymming or exercising will be quite contrary to this particular natural rhythm. That means whatever exercise, whatever gymming or whatever exercise you wanted to do throughout the day, best time is to do it during the Kapha time in the morning, not the Kapha time at night. Now people always ask us what is the ideal time to sleep. Kapha time, 6 pm to 10 pm is the ideal time for getting that good night rest. If you are somebody who has struggled with sleep issues in the past or still is struggling with sleep issues, ensure that you align your body's rhythm to this natural rhythm. The moment sun goes down, your body starts preparing to sleep. So ensure that all your meal time, all your activities, even if you're using screens, you have to ensure that that light, that phones, the tablets, all have to go away at least 2 hours before you plan to sleep. If you'd like to add something to your routine, Gandharv Ved or listening to Rik Ved chants can actually help you sleep better. There is also another specific video for handling sleep issues. If you would like to watch that, click on the link below. Moving on to the next phase of the cycle, which is the repeating Pitta time. Now you've eaten your food, you've eaten your dinner, you went to sleep, but all that food, all the experiences that you've gained throughout the day have to be digested and metabolized. And that is what this particular Pitta time comes of use. It starts from about 10 pm and runs till about 2 am. So that means waking up at this time is definitely not helping your digestion. So people with gut issues, people with sleep issues, people who have skin disorders, people who have IBS, all need to be very careful. Waking up at night, especially during this Pitta time, will only aggravate their Pitta further. Rather, there are some students who drink coffee and tea during this time. It is an absolute disaster which is going to damage your gut to an extent that you can't even think of. Best is, even if you're awake, because you're a student, would be to have a complementary Pitta tea that can help pacify the excess Pitta aggravated during this time. What is also important is, we don't realize that there are a lot of emotions that we gather throughout the day. Pitta time is not only for digesting the food that you eat, it is also important for digesting the emotions that you have gathered throughout the day. So that is why this particular time and sleeping during this time is very important also for those who suffer from depression, anxiety and mood disorders. Now moving to the last phase of our cycle, which is the repeating Vata time, that happens during 2 am to 6 am. Now this is a very significant time, because whatever has been digested throughout the day is now moving on to your colon, is now moving on to the elimination phase. That means your urine is being created, your feces are being created, and now the body has to start going in the phase of waking up. Many Ayurveda acharyas have emphasized the importance of Brahma Muhurat, that is waking up between 2:30 am to 4 am. This particular period is very significant if you would like to experience a deep meditative state. The reason? Vata dosha is highly associated with creativity, thinking power, intellectual capabilities, and a very good amount of ideas can actually come during this time. But most of you're sleeping during this time. So what should we do? It's not necessary for everybody to be waking up during the Brahma Muhurat time, but if you can at least wake up by about 5 am, and between 5 am to 6 am, there is that last phase of Vata cycle, can also really help you get that creative thinking during the day. That time, this Vata time, once you've eliminated, you've gone for shauch and your body is, has been detoxified, it is really good for you to meditate during this time. Even if you don't wake up during Brahma Muhurat, you can still meditate by 5 am to 6 am, which can give you that creative power that can make your ideas go from this level to this level. If you're somebody who's waking up this early, then adding a cup of warm water to your routine can really help achieve a good elimination as well as balance your doshas, which might have been disturbed during the day because of some or the other reason. Now, as I told you, after 6 am the Kapha time starts, which is when it's very dewy outside, things are sluggish and it's not the ideal time to wake up. That is why we must always wake up in the Vata time, so that at least our mind is fresh, it's creative, our channels are working, our shrotas are fully enlivened. And if you are somebody who can do yoga during this time, you will achieve the best benefits of yoga, exercise or anything that you do during this particular Vata time. As I told you, all these cycles of time, all these cycles of predominant doshas are very important for us to align our body with the natural rhythms of what is happening outside of us. Sun, moon, earth all have laws of nature that they follow, and it is important even for us to follow the same laws of nature. In addition to all of these, Maharishi Ayurveda highly recommends these solutions which can make your Ayurvedic clock even more perfect. Number 1, adding a spoon of Maharishi Amrit Kalash, a rasayana which boosts not only your immunity but also takes care of your gut and mental health. Taking this morning Kapha time and evening Kapha time will actually be really good for rejuvenation of your entire health journey. Number 2, during the afternoon time, if you are somebody who experiences gut issues, gas and bloating, adding half a teaspoon of Hing Vashtak Churn, adding Dizomap, or even taking Amlant if you suffer from acidity and reflux issues can really help balance out your Agni issues which are prominent during the Pitta time. Number 3, during the evening time, if you are somebody who suffers from bad elimination issues, constipation issues or in general bowel movement issues, adding Triphala powder, 1 teaspoon of it or Triphala tablets on a daily basis can actually really help detoxify, nourish your gut health. These are some basic solutions which can take care of your Ayurvedic clock on its own and really help you on the journey of adapting these practices easily, effortlessly. While a lot of these things I recommended might come as very challenging to you, especially in this modern day and age, however, Ayurvedic clock for those who have applied it to their life really has been life-changing. Tell us in the comments below of how your experience has been after implementing the perfect Ayurvedic clock in your life. Do like, share and comment on our videos and subscribe if you would like to get regular Ayurveda updates. Feel free to reach out to the number below if you'd like to get an expert Vaidya guidance. Jai Gurudev.